Hey everybody, Tony and Sarah Zalecki. Actually, it's just Sarah today. I'm used to saying that because I'm usually with my better half. But if you are anything like me, early on in my business, I had tons of leads. I had a lot of people that were in the pipeline, but I also had a lot of people that were on the fence. And I also had a lot of people that were all about the maybe, the dreaded maybe. So if that is you, you are definitely going to want to tune in. I am going to walk you guys through exactly kind of a foolproof way on really how to get people off the fence. I'm going to talk to you guys about how to simply use chats. I think a lot of people, they tend to overcomplicate chats, like people tend to overcomplicate Messenger. So hopefully you guys had a chance to see the video that Tony and I did a couple weeks ago on Facebook Messenger. If you didn't, drop us a message and we'll go ahead and we'll make sure you get that. Let's talk about chats, right? I think that for a lot of us, especially myself, we tend to overcomplicate things. So I am here to uncomplicate it for you today when it comes to chat. So you guys, chats are really just a cool tool for us to use inside of our business. And I think for some of us, we kind of had this whole fear of chats. You know, like, what do I say when I'm in a chat? How do I get people to actually respond and say, yes, they want to get in a chat? You know, what do I do when I'm in a chat? Right? We have all these like unknowns. Well, my whole job over the next few minutes is just kind of walk you through all of that good stuff, right? So first of all, let's talk about like, why the heck do we even do a chat, right? We do a chat simply because for most of us, when we're brand new in this business, we tend to like regurgitate. Do you guys know what that means? That means we tend to vomit all over our prospect. We tend to say way too much. One of my mentors early on, he talked about so many times we tend to like turn on this fire hose of information and just blast it all over people, right? It's kind of like imagine a fire hose turning it on and asking someone to drink from it, right? That's a lot of times what we do to people, right? We tend to just totally just go nuts on them, and then we can't figure out why don't they want to do the deal, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, guys, you are like trying to give them like, what is square root of pi when they should be learning 1 + 1 is 2, right? Drop me a 1 if you guys know what I'm talking about. And drop me a 1 if you're willing to be brave enough to say, hey, I'm one of those people that sometimes say too much, right? I'm one of those people that tend to go like, oh my gosh, like, let me put those words back in my mouth, right? I mean, I remember there were so many times in my business that I'm like, as soon as I did what I did, I knew I said too much, right? Drop me a 2 if you guys know there's times in your business where you're like, oh God, I said too much. Like, how the heck do I get out of that, right? Well, the reality is you can't at that point. But the good news is I'm going to show you how to not do that, how to not vomit all over your people, regurgitate all this information that you think they need to know, right? When the reality is they need to know 1 + 1 is 2, not square root of pi, okay? So one of the things that's important for us to do inside of these chats is the chats, guys, when you are brand new, it allows you to stay new, right? I love that. I still am using chats to build my business now, even though my business did, oh my gosh, like a lot, right? Tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars last year in revenue. I still use chats because the one thing that I know is that it's all about being the proper mold for your business. So you have to look at when you're building a business, what does your proper mold look like, right? And so we talk a lot about third-party tools. We all know that third-party tools this is simply the definition of third-party tool, guys. Anybody but you, okay? Anybody but you is a third-party tool, right? And a three-way chat is awesome to help you build a business. Also, it allows you to still be like, I'm brand new. I don't know. I'm brand new, right? And it allows you to get out of the way. There's too many of us, me included early on in my business, that I got in my own way. For a lot of us, the main reason that we're not having success in our business is we are stepping right in front of the success. We are like, literally, we're getting in our own way day after day. And if we would just get out, I'm telling you, the success train would be massive, right? So I want to encourage you, these chats allow you to get out of the way and be brand new, okay? So one of the things that I like to do too is I love these chats, guys, because you get to introduce them to someone that really, they know what they're talking about. You get to introduce them to someone that, you know, when you're early on, I loved these chats because it allows me to watch and learn, right? It allows me to learn how people are answering questions, what they're doing in the chats, how they're moving them along in the prospecting process. So if you're someone that is having a hard time closing, or you even dread the word close, right? Well, guess what? You need to learn how to do these chats and just master these chats, right? You need to learn how to do that. So one of the things too is that I tell people, when you're brand new, you don't have to know it all. I think for some reason, there's so many people that think they have to know everything, right? And I will tell you what's hard is a lot of us in our careers and in our jobs, we're taught that we have to know everything, right? I know that when I worked as a corporate recruiter, guess what? I knew everything. I knew the ins and outs. I could answer any question. I was lethal. I was like, bring me the question. I know the answer, right? Okay. A lot of us come from that. And the reality here in our business is we don't want to be that. Right? We don't want to be that. We don't have to be the person that knows all of it, right? So it's like, because if you are, when you go to a lot of your prospects, number one, they're going, hey, like that's a lot of information you got to know. And number two, I don't want to have to know all that information, right? So you have to be careful on the whole prospecting piece of your business and why chats are like so powerful, right? So you're going to learn really the right things to say, the right way to do things inside of these chats. Now, a couple things that you want to do with these chats, guys, is very first tip, right? Very first tip is pre-qualify the lead, right? Pre-qualify the lead. And I can tell you from my learning experience over the years, I made a lot of mistakes. And one of the mistakes that I made is I was so excited to get people connected with my, upline expert, crossline, whoever, right? My business partners, right? That a lot of times I didn't pre-qualify these people. So I would have the horse in front, what do they say? The horse in front of the cart, right? Or the cart in front of the horse, right? Way before I needed to. And so a lot of times those third party, the third party validations they weren't effective. Like they didn't work. Like it literally stopped before it started. And so if you can make sure that you pre-qualify the lead in this chat before you even invite them into these chats, it's going to be way more effective, right? The reality is most of us guys, we're working our business 10, 15, 20 hours a week. Everybody's time is super valuable. And there's nothing worse than throwing someone in a chat and it's crickets, or throwing someone in a chat and they're like, hey, so tell me all about XYZ company, which is the first clue that whoever put them in this chat, they didn't do their job and didn't get that person the first exposure. So first exposure, guys, can be anything. It can be the service, it can be the product, it can be an opportunity video, it can be a webinar, it can be a conference call, it can be whatever it is, right? Whatever your company uses as a first party exposure, right? Whatever that first tool is for them to see the business, make sure they see that first before, and that's easy. That's how you qualify your lead, guys. When you go to follow up with that person and you want to put them in this chat, you qualify them really quickly. You're like, hey, listen, did you get a chance to review the information? If they say no, don't add them in that chat. Like, don't do it, because it's so hard on the expert that is in that chat. And Risa, I actually talked about pre-qualified, meaning have they seen the information? Right? Have they seen the information on your business? They need to see that first before you put them in a chat. Okay. So make sure they're prepped, right? Make sure they're prepped and they're ready to roll. And also to understand that the job of a chat is not for your expert to educate your person, right? The education for your person is in the exposure, is in the videos, in the link, or whatever it is you're seeing. The job of the chat is simply to validate your business. That is the reason, is to validate your business is the whole reason, right? So when you are doing follow-up, right? I'm not going to do a video on follow-up. I'm not going to talk about that. But what I'm going to tell you is that when you're doing follow-up in the chat, right? Or when you're connecting with someone, guys, it's very simple. I think that a lot of people, we sometimes are like tippy-toeing around, like when you follow up with them, if they review the information, I just tell people, listen, you know what? I'd love to connect you, with my sponsor, my upline, my business partner, whoever it is, right? Whatever verbiage you want to use. I like to use business partner. Again, I like to use words that people understand, right? If they've never been in network marketing and you say, I want to get you connected with my upline, they might freak out a little bit, right? I try to keep it as normal as possible. No MLM lingo. Like I just don't go there because I want that person to feel super comfortable in this chat. Okay. So when I'm adding someone into this chat, really simple, especially if you're brand new. A lot of you guys are brand new in the business. I'll tell you, it's so crazy, guys. I mean, I remember early on in my business, I was still using third party forever. I mean, I remember I was making 10 grand a month, solid, month after month after month, and I was still doing, third party like crazy because again, I wanted to be the proper mold for my prospect. Whatever I did, right? However you introduce a business to your prospect is exactly when they enroll, it's exactly what they're going to do, right? So you always have to be thinking, I need to be the proper mold for my business, right? Super, super important, okay? So, when I'm adding someone to a chat, I'm like, hey, I'm still learning. I'd love to get you connected with, with my business partner, Tony, right? I would love to get you connected. I'd love to put you in a chat. I know you're going to have a lot of great questions, you know what I mean? So I'd love to have him help you, right? Get these questions answered. So another tip that I like to do in these chats, guys, number one, don't put more than one person in a chat. Like I've had people that throw me in put me in a chat and have like 3 prospects in there. Not a good idea, right? It's like, you don't want to do that. You want to make it individual. I do individual chats with each one. How many chats can you have going? As many as you want. That's the beautiful thing about our business. I think a lot of times inside of our business, people will be like, well, you know what? Sarah, the old ways that people used to build, right? The old ways that people used to build a business was so hard, guys. It was like you would do a 1 3-way call, right? Which for those of you that don't know, you literally would pick up a phone, do a 3-way call, connect someone, do a conference call, but that takes so long. The reality is here with chats, you literally can have 15 chats going. So it's pretty simple to figure out what's more effective, right? Is it more effective at 15 chats going or 1 3-way call, right? Really easy. I love chats too because again, it's such a great environment where, people can really learn how to build a business. So second tip I would give you on chats is that I love using voice memo. Why? People want to hear people's voices, right? They want to hear the excitement, the enthusiasm, the emotion in it. Way more effective than imagine me trying to type out all that stuff, right? It's so hard. It's so hard. Plus it doesn't get people fired up. So also because, when you're doing, a voice memo, right? When you're adding someone to a chat, people need to hear the excitement of you edifying whoever you're bringing on the chat, right? That expert also needs to hear the excitement of you edifying that prospect, right? It's super, super simple. And so, I'm not going to go into a whole Facebook Live on edification, which I'm going to do another one on, but I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips that will really get your people to sit up and pay attention when you do edification. Now, here's the thing that's funny, guys. Edification, before this business, I was like, edify what? I had no idea what edification was. I thought it was super weird. I was like, edification, that's so weird. Until I looked up the definition of edification. It's super simple. Do you know what it means? It means to build up or lift people up, right? Which we should naturally be doing anyways, whether we're in business or not. We should be edifying everyone. We should be edifying our family, our neighbors, our friends, our coworkers. We should just be people that are lifters anyways, okay? Side rant. But, so when you're doing the edification, okay, you're edifying both people so you get people to pay attention so people will pay attention. So when you're doing the edification, guys, here's the deal. Be normal. Do it naturally, right? Don't embellish. The truth is good enough. Here's my thing is that probably the secret to the edification piece that I use is I always want to make sure, guys, when you build someone up, you have to make sure that that person is believable. So if I'm bringing someone on that's an expert, right, in the business, and it could be an expert just getting going, like an expert doesn't have to be someone that's making $1 gajillion, okay? Some of you guys are like, man, I don't have someone like that I can edify. It doesn't matter. If someone is, if they're making a little bit of money and things are going, you know what I mean? That can be your expert, right? Again, third party is anybody but you, right? So, when you're doing the edification piece, be be really natural when it comes to it. I always tell people, this is how I edify. What is one thing that comes top of mind when you think of that person? That's how you naturally edify. I feel that I am a natural edifier because I keep it that simple. I don't have to go crazy and over the top. What's that one thing about that person that touches my heart that gets me really excited to talk about them? That's how I edify. I keep it just super, super simple. But I also let people know that they're down to earth, right? So I might be edifying my expert. I might be talking about how they're having success. They've done really well in the company. They're whatever it may be, right? XYZ, they're leading the expansion in a certain market. I'm working directly with them. I'm so honored to be partnered with them. Whatever your edification is, I always like to say, and you know what? Becky, the best part about Tony is that he's super down to earth. That's the best part about Tony, because when you bring it up, right, it's not so crazy, it's on a pedestal, because what happens is that if any of you guys have had this happen, you probably can relate, where you might edify someone and you edify them so much that all of a sudden your prospect says, well, how about you just answer those questions, right? If that's happened to you, drop a 3, right? I would drop a 3 because that happens to me. It used to happen to me. And they're like, well, Sarah, you know what? How about you just answer those questions? Because what happened is now the edification that you did, I guess, quote unquote, was too good. And so all of a sudden now your prospect has a ton of fear. And all of a sudden they're totally intimidated by, getting connected with this person, right? So, make sure that, when you're bringing that person on, you just edify them both. Hey, Tony, I want you to meet my girlfriend, Susie. She's a teacher. She's a mom. She's super excited about the product or super excited about the service. She loves the fact that she can get residual income, whatever it may be, right? And then all of a sudden, then I'll make sure that I introduce, my prospect Susie to Tony. Hey, this is Tony. I'll tell about Tony. And I just say, hey guys, I want to put you guys together. Tony, this is Susie. Susie, this is Tony. And then guess what I do? I zip my lips. So no matter how bad you want to talk, you talkers out there, and I'm talking to you women, mainly in particular, we're excited and we want to say something, right? Don't do it. You got to make sure that you sit on your hands, right? You close your mouth, sitting on hands because you want to type, right? Don't do it. You want to sit there and let them have the conversation. That's why the expert came in. That's why, again, you're learning the deal. And your expert's going to come in and they're going to be really simple. They're going to say, hey, Susie, great to meet you, right? Sarah told me all about you. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. Your expert's going to say, and then your expert's going to find out where they're at, get their questions answered, maybe overcome a couple of objections they might have about time or about system, about leadership or culture or whatever it may be in your company, right? And help move them along to make an educated decision on either A, they want to be a customer, right? Or B, they want to build a business. So my whole thing would be this, guys. I am all about assignments, and I'm all about kind of challenging people to step into something they haven't been doing. So my challenge to you, my assignment to you would be this, is I want to challenge you to do just 5 chats this week, right? Just 5 chats. Just whoever you're working with, make a goal that I'm going to put in 5 people into a chat this week and just start working it. And what you guys are going to find is that once you start doing chats, you're going to laugh. You're going to be like, why have I been letting these leads sit around? Why have I been having these people sit on the fence? Why have I been letting these maybes kill me? Because I didn't learn how to get out of the way fast enough, right? I'm making myself the deal. I was, regurgitating and vomiting all over my prospects versus putting them in a chat, letting my expert help me get the deal done and get them closed and get them going, right? So here's my thing. If you are committed if you're committed this week to say, hey, Sarah, I'm going to do 5 chats, comment below and say, I'm in, right? Say, I'm in. I'm committed to do 5 chats this week to get the ball rolling. So guys, I'm super passionate about chats. I love chats. Chats have made me $1 million plus in this business just because it's helped me become super effective and efficient with my time. So with that, guys, hope you got a ton of information. I encourage you guys to share this away, and I will definitely talk to you soon. And also, any of you guys that have questions, I'll go through the comments, and I'll make sure that I answer all those as well. So take care, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.